Hi guys, Debbie Lively here. Thank you guys once again for coming back to view another one of my videos. Let's invite the ancestors in and then we're just going to start talking, okay? Okay. All right, you guys. You guys, I'm always, every time, you guys probably don't know it, but every time I come here, I'm always torn about being too preachy. I really don't like to be preachy, but just keeping it real, I have really strong convictions if you guys have not figured it out. And usually when I come here, I'm actually being a little lighter than I actually am in real life. Because I just really don't like to come across as preachy. But I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm gonna come across as, not come across, I'm gonna be who I am. That's what the divine is just telling me. Debbie, don't critique yourself so much, and just be real with who you really are. So that's what I am really just going to start doing, is just be more real with like who I am. And one of the things, you guys, I'm a teacher. That's what I do for a living. And I'm very good at it. I'm just going to keep it real. I'm very, very good at what I do. I'm very good at explaining things and getting into things, especially if I'm real passionate about it. And I'm real passionate about what it is that I teach, right? So today I'm teaching, all right? I'm teaching. The other day, today I'm going to be talking about Black Lives Matter. And, sometimes, when I'm laying in the bed, I have these thoughts that come to mind. And then before I know, I'm like writing notes and I have all these ideas. The divine kind of directs me and tells me, what to do. But the other day I was thinking about Black Lives Matter, and I was really, and I teach English. I was really just twisting that phrase around and trying to ask myself emotionally and mentally and physically and spiritually, like, what does that term really mean, right? Black Lives Matter. And for me, to be honest with you, when I think about Black people and I put Black people on like a pole, the trajectory of pole, when I think about the term Black Lives Matter, and this is not a slant or shade against Black Lives Matter and what they're trying to do, because anybody that's trying to help us, that's for us and not against us, I'm for them. But when I think about that term, Black Lives Matter, and I put Black people on the pole, Black Lives Matter is around the latter part of the pole. It's at the bottom of the pole for me, because Black people are so much more than just our lives mattering. When I think about Black people are sacred. And we got to begin to understand that, step in that, and own that. We're sacred. But we don't think that we could go on the street and say, Black people are sacred, because many of us don't even believe that we're sacred, right? So we got to believe a thing before we can preach a thing, right? But we're sacred. And it's time for us to start believing that. It's time for us, one, to start speaking that into being and standing in it and walking in it, right? Because there was a time where I didn't believe I was sacred, right? But the divine has taken me, from here to here, from A to Z, and shown me, Debbie, you're sacred. You're part of me. When I designed a woman who has skin, who looks like you, who has the spiritual integrity, who has the spiritual knowledge and the spiritual wisdom as a woman like you. Black people are sacred. We have the pineal gland. We have melanin within our bodies, not just outside of our bodies, but inside of our bodies, that make us sacred, that make us different from other people. And we need to understand that, and we need to begin to teach that to one another and teach that to our children, so that we understand who it is and what we are, so that we know we more than matter. That's saying Black Lives Matter. That's at the bottom of a pole. We're up here. We're at the top of the pole because we are sacred, right? So that's my main point that I really wanted to get across to us, that we're sacred. Our lives more than matter. Of course, our lives matter, but we're above that. We're sacred. So, I had this. I saw this video, and I'm actually going to pause and put this video here. But this is woman singing, and here's the thing, for us, we have been told, and I'm preaching, and you guys, I told you, so this is a thing I really don't like to do, but this is who I am, you guys. This is really who I am. I saw this woman, you guys may have seen her. I think Roland Martin actually posted her video, a woman singing in church, and she was actually singing at a funeral, right? And I'm going to show that video. It's going to be here. So, but anyway, I listened to this video and I listened to this woman sing it, and I think about the emotion in which she stirs, and the people in the audience as well as anybody who's listening to it. And see, when we hear someone like this, or we see Black excellence, or we see Black people doing phenomenal things, because we do phenomenal things in all areas of life. That is when you see what you're really looking at. You're not just looking at somebody who's good at their art or good at their work or whatever. You're looking at sacredness. You're looking at the divine. You're looking at the spirit in a person, in an individual. That's what you're looking at. And that is the thing that makes Black people different. So when you see somebody just doing it in whatever their art form is, doing it in whatever their work is, you're looking at the divine. You're looking at sacredness in them. And that's when you see that in a Black person, you got to begin to identify and not just say, oh, that person is good. You're looking at the divine in them. You're looking at sacredness in them. So when you see somebody, a Black person doing something, doing it like Beyonce, when she like really doing her thing, and she always on her A game, but when you see her doing it, you're looking at the divine. You're looking at sacredness. So when you see a Black person doing something that's on top, know what you're looking at. Black people do things like no other. Like this woman. She's singing at a funeral. Who do you know can turn a funeral into a concert? Only a Black person. Only a Black person. Because that's the sacredness, that's the divine that's in us, right? And we got to begin to believe that and understand that that's what that is. I'm going to tell you, as I mentioned before, I've not always believed this about myself in terms of the sacredness and the divine within me. But, doing my meditation and hearing from the ancestors and these different things, that God has shown me the sacredness inside of me through my meditation. But I remember one day just recently I was in Whole Foods. I love to shop in Whole Foods. I love good food. I think I always have told you guys that. But, I looked around and I realized I'm the only Black person in here, and I've been all my entire life, I've always been, the only Black person in the room. And a lot of us have, right? But I'm going to tell you, at one time in my life, I used to shrink back from that. I used to try to make myself smaller. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about because all of us have done this. We try to make ourselves smaller. We try to fit in. But I don't do that anymore. Now, when I'm the only Black person in the room, you know what I tell myself? I'm the only queen up in this piece. That's what I tell myself. And I hold my head up high and I walk like I'm a queen. That's how I treat myself because now I understand my sacredness. And that's where we have to get to, you guys. We've got to, and like I said, this is no shade against Black Lives Matter, but we got to stop settling for what people think or what we think we could get by white people. We got to embrace our sacredness. We got to say Black lives are sacred because they are. This woman singing this song, turning this funeral into a concert is an indication, is an example of that. And when you see Black excellence, that's what it is. It's the sacredness. It's how God has made us so different from other people. And we got to stop shrinking back from that and own it. All right? So I was thinking about this the other day, and I was just thinking about, because sometimes I'm sitting at my altar and I'm telling y'all, I'm being real with y'all today. And I feel the divine just like speaking to me. And I'm like, dang, do other people feel like this? Other people feel like this? But you guys have got to understand that you are sacred, that you are kings and queens, that, what's inside of you ain't in no other people. And you got to own that. And when you're in a room with all white people, hold your head up high. Hold your head up high and realize that you are of royalty. When the divine created people, he made people who look like you and me. All right? So I know I'm being a little preachy here, but you guys, this is really how I speak on a regular basis. But I told you, since I started this YouTube channel, I've been trying to be a little, not preachy so much, but this is who I am. And I feel really strongly about this sacredness of Black people and what's resonating inside of us. And we all need to know it. We all need to know it, and we've got to begin to teach it and not just, do it passively, or you got to bag it up with something too, you guys. You can't call yourself sacred if you have not educated yourself or sat in the presence of the divine, meditated, felt his and her presence, because the divine has a male and a female principle. Please don't get it twisted. The divine is both female and male. I don't say that often enough, but that has been made clear to me recently. Male and female principle. Okay? So feel that within yourself, know who you are, stand it, hold your head up, and know that your life more than matters. That's the bottom of the pole, you guys. We're up here. Black people are sacred. All right. So that's really all I wanted to say. I know it's a lot. I know I'm preaching, but this is who I really am, you guys. When I'm talking to my kids, this is how I really talk. All right. So I'm going to do more of this and just be real with you guys even more so. Okay. So I always like to end by saying Ashe, and I will talk to you all soon.